Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa Galloway with Beauty from Inside and Out. And I have a question for you. Do you feel like you follow trends and forget sometimes how you personally like to wear your makeup? I want to get into that conversation. Let's have a chat.
If you're here, then you woke up today. And that is a blessing. Don't take that for granted. Don't waste it.
Okay, ladies, so this may not be for everyone. I'm just going to keep it up front because if this isn't you, then catch me next week. But I want to talk about keeping your makeup natural looking, right? Listen, that's kind of my forte. I really love to wear my makeup where it seems like I have no makeup. And I have learned kind of like throughout the years as I was introduced to cream, that it can be worn so many different ways. And that's why I believe it's unique in the sense that it's not like your traditional makeup where you kind of put it all over your face. And if that's you, I love you. You know what? I did it like that too. But I've also found that as I'm getting older, really the more makeup that I apply on my face, the more is going to age me. And I have really truly have found that the less is more factor is not just a saying. It really does make a difference. Okay, so what I want to target and how I want to target this today is by just showing you how you can look at putting on your makeup very differently. And what I mean by that is I think we all, first of all, need to figure a way to just embrace make those imperfections beauty as well, right? We all have that one or two things that we look at our face and go, okay, let's see. I have a few things that I just kind of want to minimize, right? Minimize, because I'm never going to eliminate it. And that's what I mean about just embracing and finding the beauty in those imperfections, right? We can be the worst critical against ourselves. And I'm going to kind of get into a little bit of a rant here before I go ahead and just show you the technique that I have found that I believe really does help to have the less is more factor, and also targeting those areas that you're just feeling like you want to even out. Before I do, let me get into just a quick little rant here. So okay. You would never, ever talk to your friend, your mom, your daughter, another person. You would never talk to them where you're saying all these negative things to them, right? Berate them. How much do we do that to ourselves though, right? When we could be so critical of everything that we do, how we look. You know, we replay it on our brains about what we said. Like, we can be our worst enemy when it comes to how we talk to ourselves. And I wish that I can just, if there's one thing that you know how like you kind of just learn life as you keep moving forward, right? Because you learn through your experiences. And so when you look back, you're like, wow, if I can tell my younger self, right? Be less harsh on yourself. That would definitely be one of it. Okay, off of my soapbox. Rant over. Let's get into the makeup. So this is kind of like what I have learned. And you know what? This may change also. I think there's many ways that you can keep your makeup very natural with using as less makeup as possible, but still look put together. But this is kind of how I have been wearing it, and I feel like, you know, like it may help you. So what I have done, kind of just going back to looking at what I feel is distracting for me. So me personally, maybe for you, it could be like a little bit of redness, and there's ways to play around that when it comes to, like, let's say rosacea or whatever, like, pigment that you're dealing with that you're feeling like you want to minimize. There's ways that you can go around it to kind of work with what you have. So, and once again, this may not be for everybody's cup of tea, right? Some women, and I can respect that, rather go ahead and just put the makeup on all over, layer it to have as minimal of that distraction. But I'm talking to my gals that just love that more natural, kind of showing your skin more in your makeup application. This is for you. So I'm taking like a bronzer, and I am adding the warmth into my face. Now, my pigment is definitely in a warmer tone, so this works for me. So if this is kind of like where you sit, I think this will work also for you. Now, I am taking that and I am putting the warmth up on like my forehead, right? And I can be as generous as I want kind of up here because I don't have any of my hyperpigmentation on my forehead. So again, it's about working with what you're feeling is distracted. And I can always help you with that. If you reach out to me and do a color match, I always have that in my link. If you're needing a little help and you're like, Lisa, I'm stuck, I don't even know what you're talking about, how can you help me? Please reach out to me. Any of the photos that you send into my color match link, I'm the only one that is seeing that photo, and I'm able to go ahead and help you find a shade that's gonna work well with you, and we can go ahead and have that discussion. So as I'm going now with this bronzer onto now my face, which is where I'm holding a lot of my hyperpigmentation, I am now kind of like evening out a little bit of that tone with a bronzer, whereas before I was trying to take a shade to even out that tone, which is fine, but this approach is, again, the less is more factor, because what I'm doing is I'm just taking my cream makeup and I am putting it in places where my natural skin is going to show for the most part. And I am just bringing warmth to my face. I have already a lot of warmth on my nose because, you know, those are the highest points of your face where the sun is naturally just constantly bringing in that that color to your face, right? So instead of trying to remove it, I'm kind of adding that color on top of my pigmentation, okay? The darker spots on my face that I deal with, okay? So what I'm gonna do after I bring the warmth, and I never forget like my neck so that it can just look very cohesive. And this shade that I'm wearing is a shade with Seint. I love it so much. It's called High Tide. So if you're looking on to the website, that is the shade that I am using for my pigment. There are other shades that are there that'll work perfectly with your shade tone. So I bring that down to my neck and under like my jawline, just to kind of have a cohesiveness, right? Now, this is kind of like where I pinpoint now, and I go in to see where I want to target other specific areas. For an example, I will take a smaller brush to target maybe like the inner part of my eye, because I have a little bit of a darkness there and I want to even that out without having to put makeup under my eyes, right, ladies? Like, how many times don't we, as we continue to age? So I'm taking a color and I am just kind of neutralizing that color there and lightening it up, but I'm doing it in a place where I really don't have any texture. The skin around where the tear duct of your eye is, right in that corner, you don't have a lot of texture here. So when you have the little bit of makeup that you do on there, you're not going to see any of those finer lines there. The areas that I would then stay away from is just directly under my eye and maybe like over at the crow's feet. But I am just taking specifically makeup, cream specifically, and I am just targeting that right in the area to brighten up the eye with this shade. And having that area of my face a little brighter. Now, on the side of my nose, again, staying away from anywhere where I have texture, I can go in and just target maybe those areas where I feel like I do want to even out or minimize some of those hyperpigmentation, right? Again, I am not putting this everywhere. If you're dealing with, and this is another issue as we age, we may start to deal with what's called mustache melasma. I dealt with that quite a bit until I was able to really get a hold of it with skincare. That's another conversation for another day. If you're interested in a little bit of what I have used to target that, leave it in the comments. Okay, so let's go in now with blending this in. So I take a small brush and I just press where I place that cream. So again, I am not putting my makeup everywhere. You're going to see a lot of areas that I will have my skin showing. And again, it's about really embracing and just there's beauty and imperfection. Like I said earlier, you don't have to feel like you have to cover every single freckle, blemish. There's beauty in that, okay? So once I go in, and you can see how I don't have a lot of makeup everywhere, guys, right? So I just use that color. If I want to go in with like one of my more main shades to now have a little brightening in a sense of my natural skin tone, then I go specifically in some of these areas. I like to make sure that I'm also brightening up, because that's another thing as we continue to age, that our temples, they start to kind of indentate, right? And it looks very hollow. So when you put warmth or when you add a darker color onto that temple, it is going to look more exaggerated. So I like to, as I place, and you saw the very first one was the bronzer, and I might have gotten a little bit on there with the brush. I go back in now and I just brighten up right where that temple is at. Let me get my other brush. So I brighten up there to keep that not darkened, right? Because that is just something that's going to happen as we continue to age, right? Our faces are constantly changing. And that's why I always say too, that this approach that I am doing, it's working now. And makeup, it's that way, right? It continues to, your makeup application continues to evolve because your face continues to change. So that's one thing that I have to say. When I discovered cream makeup, I never gave that a thought before, that our makeup should always be worn how we started wearing it when we were like in our teens. That is so not right. There's no way I can wear my makeup the way I used to wear it when I was in my 20s. It has to change, right? And just like I feel, and I'm just very biased, and is what I have experienced, that cream makeup is truly the best thing for mature skin. There's also different techniques to even how to apply the makeup, right? And when you find that rhythm, that perfect sweet spot, that this is how and what's working for you, you keep doing that for a minute until it doesn't, right? So again, I am just taking that color, which is my natural color to my skin, and see how little, but my face feels like how I feel comfortable and still showing my natural skin underneath, embracing all those imperfections. And of course, you can go further from here with putting on, if you choose, a little of the contouring to emphasize maybe more lift onto your cheekbones. The whole thing though is just targeting, right? Just specific areas for what you need and the purpose of why you're applying that makeup. So I'm not going to continue to put the rest of my makeup on. I'm just going to add a little bit of my brows to shape those in, and add a little bit more of a coloring for my cheeks, a dash of that same color on my lips, and I'll be good to go. So let me show you a picture of that here at the end. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that this was a technique that you can go ahead and try on your own if you have cream makeup. If you don't, allow me to introduce to you Seint Cream Makeup and be your personal makeup artist with helping you find your perfect shades for you. And don't forget to subscribe, to like the video, share it if you feel like you've got a girlfriend or a daughter or a mom that just you want to introduce a new way of putting on your makeup, natural, minimal, and quick. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Catch you next week.